DBS community, welcome back. We're bringing you guys another set 22 video here, and we're going to be going over the Fortune Teller Baba deck, which is, it's a very cool concept for a deck, honestly. Kind of fits the theme of Baba being able to, be clairvoyant, and I think it's a very interesting design for a deck. Is the deck good? We'll see, as we always do. So make sure you guys like and subscribe, hit the bell for notifications so you guys keep up to date with the content. The content will be sporadic since the birth of my daughter, so we'll be in and out of making content. My goal is to at least I want to get through all of the leaders prior or after she's born, at least going through all the leaders, so I can do a breakdown for all the leaders before the set comes out, and then after that you might see a little bit less content until things started getting a little more normalized for me. So but as of right now, we'll go with the leader, and then as always we go into the deck portion of the video so we can get a breakdown of how the deck potentially could look. Alright, so we have Fortune Teller Baba. The cards placed in your leader are active to 1 Fortune Teller Baba Palace from your deck, and the next main switches card the rest mode, draw 1, and look at the top 2 cards of your opponent's deck and place them at the top of their deck in any order. This is very cool. This allows you to kind of see what your opponent's going to draw. Now, unfortunately, the first turn of the game, your opponent's more likely going to draw both of those cards, so it doesn't really matter. Essentially, it might matter for like charging and stuff, but overall, it's not going to matter too much. You awaken at 5, or if you have 4 cards under your Fortune Teller Baba's Palace in your battle area, then you draw 2. And that is the only awakening condition. So you have to be at 5 life or less, or 4 cards underneath. And you don't actually take life down, so you can awaken at 8 life technically. On the front side, we have Fortune Teller Baba and Sun Gohan Battle Observation. So we have permanent, your yellow Sun Gohan Z Battle cards gain double strike. And auto wins card attacks, you draw 1, and then search up the top 3 cards of your opponent's deck, and then place them in the top of their deck in any order. So now you can see the top 3. Again, some decks might not matter because they're going to draw all 3 cards as it is, but some decks that don't draw a ton, you can actually keep putting their best card to the bottom 3, and it really forces them to have to dig through their deck to be able to find stuff. And if you battle, if you have choose 4 cards under a Fortune Teller Baba's Palace in your battle area, use all of the chosen cards in a combo. This is kind of like almost like a pseudo Spirit Bomb effect that you can continue to use as long as there's 4 cards underneath. So that's pretty cool. Alright, so the first card is going to be the Fortune Teller Baba's Palace. This is a barrier field spell. It's a 5 cost. Permanent, you can't place more than 1 card with the same character name under this card in your battle area. And then auto, when you play a Dracula Man, Sukasan, Bandages, or Spike from your hand or your deck, you place the corresponding card with the same name underneath this card from your deck. The wording on this is messed up, honestly. Bandai's done a pretty good job with quality control for this set, so it's not a huge deal. This is a deck that a lot of people probably won't play on launch. I don't think it's a huge deal. Activate main, you get to place 1 yellow Dracula Man, Sukasan, Bandages, or Spike from your hand at the bottom of your deck, and then you get to draw a card. So on your awakened turn, or on your first turn, you get to cycle without having to swing. Obviously, you don't really swing on the unawakened side here, but you have the ability of cycling 2 cards, right? You get to draw 1, then you get to cycle another one. But you want to put these these four monster cards essentially into your deck. You want them in your deck so then you can cycle them out later. That's kind of a big thing. So essentially, when you play one, you're going to cycle another one to the field spell. So you're probably only going to play maybe 2 of these a game. So you do need to max out on 4. So that's kind of one of the weird things about this deck, is that sometimes you are going to find them, you're going to add them to your hand from your life. You do need to bottom deck them so you can continue to replay them and cycle to the palace. So we have the 1-drop and the 2-drop, and these kind of all do similar things. Some of them have different effects on them, which we'll go over. So we have Dracula Man. So the cool thing about this deck is you get to declare a number when this card's played. So all of the challenging warrior cards, and I think there's one other card that's not a challenging warrior that does the same effect. You get to declare a number, and your opponent reveals the top card of their deck. If they flip the card over, and they place the card back on top of their deck, so it doesn't actually shuffle like how one of the older universal archetypes did. Additionally, then, if the card has the same energy cost as the card that you declared, you get to add the next guy up the chain from your deck to your hand. Okay, so we have Dracula Man. So he does that. You declare a number, If the card being played from your deck or your hand, you reveal the top card of your deck. Your opponent, you reveal the top card of the deck. If it's, let's say you call 3 cost, and if it's 3 cost, then you get this effect where you get to add Sukasan to your hand, and then kind of goes up. Sukasan also adds bandages. The other effect on Dracula Man, if your leader is a yellow Forge Teller Baba and your opponent has 7 life or more, when this card is used in a combo from your battle area, your opponent adds 1 card from their life to their hand. So this just automatically deals the damage, which is kind of cool. Just automatically deals the damage. You're basically going to use it 1 time, and that's it. Sukasan has deflect. He cannot attack, and if you have a card under the Fortune Teller Baba in your battle area, you reduce the energy cost of your card in your hand by 1. So a lot of the cards, as you'll see as we go up the chain, they all have a similar effect where if you have another copy of this card underneath, you get to reduce the energy cost of that card. And Suka does the same thing. It adds bandages, which we have bandages here, and then bandages adds spike. So bandages gets reduced down to a 1 cost from a 3. Spike gets reduced from a 4 cost to a 1 cost. From 1 cost to a 3, and you have to have 2 or more cards. This just means you just have to have a card underneath your palace. You don't have to have a copy of this. It just have to be a card. And then bandages is 2 cards, and then spike is 3 cards. So bandages is a 15k dual attack. 15k deflect. If you declare the correct number, you get to add spike, and then this card gets 5k for the turn, so it becomes a 20k. And then spike, when you reveal the card, you get to reduce the energy cost of Devil Might Beam in your Z deck by 1 yellow for the turn. So Devil Might Beam is here. It's it basically becomes a 1 cost 1 Z energy extra card, Z extra, and your yellow spike cards get 5k power just permanently. And then auto, remove this card from the game when one of your battle cards is KO'd or removed from the battle area by an opponent's skill. Choose one of your opponent's battle cards without Son Goku and its character name and KO it. So this card can basically just hit any card. If one of your cards is removed, you remove this card from the game. It's a pretty cool effect, but the unfortunate part is that none of these cards actually provide really any value. You're just swinging a bunch of vanillas, essentially, that just draw a card. So the archetype itself is not great. In the future, if they add some better cards to this deck, you might be able to see some very interesting things, but as of right now, this is probably the only throwaway archetype that they release in this entire set. This entire set is fantastic, other than this particular archetype for competitive purposes. I think this deck is super cool though for what it does. It's just not very good. This card though is very, very good. It's one of the only reasons why to play the deck. Is the Intense Headbutt Son Goku, which is a 5-drop. 25k unique barrier. There's 4 or more cards under the Baba's Palace. You play the card from your hand, and then this card also does the declare number. So if you declare the correct number, you choose up to one of your opponent's units with a specific cost of 2 or less, or up to one of their battle cards, both in rest mode, and you place it in the owner's drop. So this card just gets rid of a card. It doesn't KO it, it just removes it by a skill. So that's pretty cool. So it's a 25k body that's going to be able to remove something every time it attacks. Is it going to stick on board? In certain matchups, this card has barrier, so it's going to survive. How long will it survive? I don't know, but it is the only like really, really good card in the deck, at least in the actual main deck that's not a Z card. Then we have 2 Son Gohan cards. So the yellow Son Gohan card we already showed off in the Skillless Childhood deck, but it was also revealed with this, so it's another card you can play in this deck because we do play a Goku that costs 4 or more. The one we just showed off, and this card will also restand that card, which is pretty cool. We do have the Son Gohan Unpredictable Blow. It's a 25k deflect barrier dual attack. If you have a yellow non-Son Goku childhood card with any cost of 5 or more in play, reduce the cost of this card in your hand and in your Z deck by 1, which is the previous card. So this card becomes a 2-cost 2 Z energy. This card is placed as one of your yellow non-Grade 8 Son Goku cards, and it gains dual attack for the turn. Then at the end of the turn, you remove this card from the game. So some cool thing about this card. So this card is kind of like your finisher. So it's a 2-cost, 25k dual attack, double strike barrier, because it gains double strike off of the Baba effect. And then also you give your Goku card dual attack. So if you guys see here, Goku card here, where you can auto and you can pop basically 2 things, which is very cool. You just have to make sure you're saying the right number. And then Gohan obviously would be a 25k dual attack, double strike, deflect barrier, which is a pretty big monster there. So some other cards, we have the Fortune Teller Baba cards. So we have Seeing the Future. When you place this card in the owner's drop, you choose one. You either play a Dracula Man, cost 1 from your deck. You get to add a Crystal Gazing from your deck to your hand. So that's the Crystal Glazing here. Or activate main if your leader is a Fortune Teller Baba. Look up to one card from your top of your opponent's deck. Place it at the top or the bottom of their deck. So this card's very cool. So what this card does, if you've already rearranged the top of their deck, you can then put stuff at the bottom. So this is where like the resource like messing kind of comes into play. Is that you can play this card, and then you can activate main to look at the top card. So you can actually use your leader effect. You draw a card, look at the top 2 cards, place the card you want on the top, and then use this card to look at that top card and then put it at the bottom of their deck. So you can kind of resource stall people, and obviously people can shuffle their deck. People have cantrips that literally search their deck for cards, so like in certain matchups it's not going to matter, but the concept of the card is very cool. We have Crystal Gazing, which is a activate main or battle for 0 energy. You look at the top of your cards, you rearrange them in any order, and then the activate battle for 1 yellow. You look at the top, you declare a number, look at the top card. If it's that card, you give a Fortune Teller Baba 5k for the turn. So this is like a yellow bean essentially. So this actually is very cool. So this actually allows you to just go up to 20k, or you can even use multiple of them because they're not limit 1. As long as you have the energy form, you can just beam yourself, which is pretty powerful. I wish the first Baba card allowed you to grab Crystal Gazing from the drop. That would have been very powerful. It would have kind of given you this recycling effect where you can consistently have this bean, which would have been really cool, but unfortunately you don't have that effect, so it's pretty sad. And then the Fortune Teller Baba card, I waited to make this video because I knew that there was a promo coming out. I just didn't know what the card did. I saw that it was Fortune Teller Baba though, so I wanted to wait so we can actually release it with this video. So this card is when you play it, you draw 1. And then auto for 1 yellow if your leader is a Fortune Teller Baba. When this card is used in a combo, play up to 1 Dracula Man with any cost of 1 from your deck, then shuffle. So this card has the same sort of effect as the first Baba, except you don't need to play it. You can just combo it and then tap 1, which is in some matchups is a little more safe. You have activate main if your leader is a Fortune Teller Baba card. Look at the top card of your opponent's deck and place it at the top or the bottom of their deck. So the card has the same exact effect as the first Baba, which is cool because then, like, say you have both of these on board, and you look at the top 2 cards, like, okay, I want both these cards gone. You can activate main on the first card, on the first Baba, bottom deck that card, and then activate the second Baba, and then you can bottom deck that card. So you can just kind of continue to put resources at the bottom of their deck. Again, certain decks like Golden Frieza, they're just gonna Frieza call. As long as they have a Frieza call in their hand, they're gonna get a 1-drop, right? So like you can continuously like put things at the bottom and stop them from being able to get resources if they don't already have them. That's kind of the game you are playing. Yeah, you have to try to limit resources, but the problem with this deck is that it suffers from not having a great offensive archetype. A lot of the stuff is just like weird utility, so we're gonna have to really build around having a good offense and potentially having some like pretty powerful defensive cards. So that's what we're going to go into next, seeing if we have anything that could potentially work. Now we're going to go to the deck profile portion of the video and see what we come up with. So we have the deck here. So the first one to go over is going to be this card that's right here. As of right now, the Baba, the promo Baba, is not on DBS Deck Planet, so I'm just using the Battering Laser as sort of that slot. You're going to run 4 of the new promo Baba. So just keep that in mind. Remember, this card is not Battering Laser. So just don't look at the video and think this is Battering Laser. It's gonna be the 1-drop Baba. All right, we have one of the Fortune Teller Palaces, 4 of the other Baba. So you're definitely gonna want to max out on these so you can see them as much as possible turn 1, so you're constantly getting something cycled. All right, and we have 4 of all of the Challenging Warriors. Again, because when you play a Challenging Warrior, you're going to cycle another version of that card off of the palace. You're going to cycle one of those cards from your deck underneath this. So essentially, you're only going to be playing 2 copies of this at the absolute most, unless one's in your life and you don't have the ability of bottom decking it off of the palace for some reason. So 2 at the complete most. What this does though, this is going to cycle out a lot of cards out of your deck. So being able to play a Dracula Man, and then you're going to cycle a Dracula Man into your deck. So now you're going to know how many of these are actually going to be in your deck, right? And then you combo with them, obviously, off of the Fortune Teller Baba. We have 4 of the Son Goku Intense Headbutt Probably go down to 3 with this, but I wanted to max out just so I can see it because it's not searchable. It is unique, so you can't play multiple of them. So, but I think having this card just available, so this is going to be basically your main attacker. You're going to need to make sure you have the card. 3 Crystal Gazing. We can probably go down to 2 on this, but I think this card is pretty good just for certain defensive turns. You're going to use this card primarily on defense. I don't know how many times you're going to hand dump on your leader. That's the only other Baba card you're going to swing with, but mainly probably for defense here. We have 4 Krillin super combos. Best super combo for you to run in most situations. I thought about including 1 or 2 of the Zamasu super combo. People, if they remember that card, you can tap down a leader or a battle card. I think that card might be pretty good for this deck, just so it keeps the defensive aspect of the deck alive. But we need to be able to draw, and obviously, like, these cards are like replacing themselves. We're not like really hard plussing at all, so we need to be able to use a super combo just so we can. And then also, this card actually allows us to put the other monsters back into our deck, which is good. 2 Goku Steadfast Assistance. So this card costs 1 less already because we have the 14-color Baba Palace. And then we start using the Crystal Gazing, and then we use 1 of these, and then boom. This card's cost 1. So this card is it's going to tap a card coming into play as long as it doesn't have deflect. It's going to draw us a card. Now it's a 5k blocker. So we're going to pair that with 4 Riposte or Yellow deck. We're going to run Riposte until it gets limited, which it's more likely going to at some point. 1 Swift Retaliation Cooler. This is for our kill turn, which is probably going to be turn 6. We have 1 Power of the Super Saiyan. Again, another good yellow card. 3 of the Gohan negates, so we can negate an attack. It's got a blocker, and then we can also restand a Goku. So we can restand our Goku here, so it can't be attacked into. We also can restand this Goku for some reason if I got tapped down. Now I can use another blocker again. Those are kind of the 2 main targets for that card. 2 Frieza Army Reinforcements. Again, just more defense. We need to be able to survive as long as possible, so we can get off the big play, which is going to be our Universe at Stake. Now, this deck is weird, so this deck actually has kind of a strange caveat to it. So 1, when we play this card for 2, we have the Z Battle card in play, which we'll be able to play. But then we will draw a card because we'll have a yellow extra card in play, whether it's the 14-color Baba Palace or the Devil Might Beam. The problem is that we can't restand this card because we can never tap Baba's Palace, because it has barrier. So unless our opponent taps it somehow, which I don't think there's any cards in the game that can tap a field spell ignoring barrier, you're never going to get the second swing off of the Universe at Stake. So that part kind of sucks. But this is definitely one of the best cards for you to run as a finisher, just to continue to put pressure in and also be able to tap down energy. So we can use our big play, which is going to be using a combination of these 3 cards with UR number 1. Since our leader is a mono yellow earthling, we can use this card. We play the Goku. You can play I think you can play, yeah, it's just going to be this Goku here. You can't play this guy because this guy's a childhood, but you're going to play the Goku here, tap an energy down, and then you will be able to get at least 2 swings off of it because it will have at least dual attack. You can use the Baba Palace here to give it an extra 20k essentially. Put those cards into your drop, and then you can use the Mirror Creator Absorbed to push for the last damage. It seems to be kind of the best strategy for the deck. I mean, there's nothing else really you can add to it. There's no double strikes in the archetype. There's not a lot of other things you can do. You can play some red stuff, and you can do some cute things, but it doesn't actually feel the same. It doesn't feel as consistent either. This deck is definitely nowhere near being a competitive deck at the moment. I'm sure people will try to play it, and if someone finds out how to play it and play it very well, I'm sure we'll see a deck profile at some point from it. But as of right now, this seems to be the weakest deck coming out of the set. But it definitely looks like one of the cooler decks that we've ever seen designed. Just being able to declare numbers and mess with people's draw effects is really cool. Nothing incredibly generic enough for other people to play from the archetype. It's all leader locked, so nothing fun there. And we have the Z deck. We have 1 Goku's Kamehameha. Since we do play some Goku battle cards, they will get 5k. And we also can give our Universe at Stake 10k in crit if we use this effect on it too. So it just gives you another other way to deal damage. one Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta, Terrifying Agent of Destruction. One of the monsters we're probably going to play throughout the game just so we can get some damage in. 3 of the Sun Gohan, Unpredictable Blow. This is, again, our boss monster for the deck. That if we have the Goku in play already, this card will swing twice for 25k double strike, and then the Goku will swing twice for 25k, being able to pop cards as well. Okay. 1 Devil Might Beam, just because running multiple of the spike stuff just doesn't seem very good. And then we have 1 Oolong, so we can kind of boost from our Mira. Again, just another good yellow finisher. Like I said, this deck kind of, it's like surprisingly good in the sense of like the archetype isn't very good, but like the powerhouse cards, like the Goku here, and then this combination of cards here is actually very powerful. And then your Z deck, obviously you're using it well, but the rest of the deck just doesn't really do much. So if you can starve your opponent out of getting resources, it's great. If your opponent's able to shuffle their deck and just can't trip off the top and find stuff, it's not very good. So that's kind of the problem you're going to run into with this deck. So, but that is what I have for you guys today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys did, make sure you like and subscribe. Thank you guys for watching and supporting as always, and I'll see you guys in the next video.